Welcome to Ask Sue London, the Pet Psychic. I'm your host, Sue London, and I want to invite you to discover your pet's thoughts, feelings, and emotions. My guest today is an amazing lady. Her name is Trish Mathews, and she's going to talk about learn your pet's purpose in life. So I invite you at this time to sit back, relax, and let's enjoy our time together. Now, a bit about Trish. She is incredible. Let me tell you, I have had firsthand experience that you're going to learn about it on the show today. But she pretty much can read anything. She can read you. She can read animals. She can read your business. She can read your home. So you're in for an amazing show. And simply by taking your pet's name and birthday, she's going to tell you a lot, even about right down to their personality. So let's just get started with Trish and get into it. So Trish, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. This is going to be so much fun. So yeah, I can read just about anything that's been either born or created. And so I use astrology, numerology, something called cards of destiny that ties to a calendar system, and fingerprint and hand analysis there. So it's kind of quirky, I know, for the fingerprints and hand analysis. Basically, fingerprints are they're created in the womb at 13 weeks and they finish developing by 21 weeks. So now I've sat there and I was really curious about that with pets to see what in the heck would happen there, and did some research, looked at my pet's paws, and apparently with pets, paws are not unique. However, their nose is little prints are unique and stuff. So now with the fingerprints, the creator of the system had the Scotland Yard, and he had hospital records. He had lots of data to be able to analyze and see the uniqueness in the fingerprints, which we know has been around since over 100 years. But then with the nose prints, there's just not enough data to be able to do that. So for with humans, I can collect more information, the more the better. But then with pets, all I need is a name, and if y'all have it, is a birthday is super helpful as well. And so with that, I can see what are the soul's purpose, what the adventure that they came to this life for. So that's pretty much what I do there.
And I found it was really interesting when you took my birthday, my husband Ross's birthday, and Marley's birthday. Now, you did not have Gus's birthday because we rescued him. So in that case, what did you do to be able to learn about it?
Well, I primarily focused on Gus's name in that case. However, so if you have an adopted or rescued pet and you don't know their age and their birthday, you can use the adoption date, the date that you took the pet in, because that's like a mini new life. And especially if you renamed your pet, that becomes another mini day. So when, a wife takes on a new name or an actor changes their name, those are like new beginnings for them. So you can just treat that day. And if you can backdate and approximately how old the pet is, your vet might be able to tell you, and then you can use that.
That's great. Now, I'm just looking, we got lots of time now, and I'm kind of like throwing this at you, and I apologize if this is not good for you. But good. Before we started the show, we talked to my producer, Rob, and you were kind of getting some stuff on his dog, Lola. Do you want to take this time just to kind of tell Rob about his dog?
Yes, absolutely. So let me talk a little bit. I'm going to back up just a smidgen on that because I've got Rob's dog's name is Lola. And so the name is basically who that critter or person is. And so that represents all of their past lives. Each letter is like a Girl Scout badge, if you will, of what they've earned in past lives. And so A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, and there's 9 basic numbers. And so I'm looking to see whether they have at least one letter representing all of those letters. And then if there's any missing letters there, then I come over to the birthday. And the birthday is the experience that you want to have in this life. And it sets up all the timing for the events. So if there's a missing letter in the name, but that number is present in the birthday, we know, okay, that's what the soul is here learning in this life. So little Lola, such a sweet name. So that was my rescue pet's dog, its name before I renamed it, because she had this cute white patch on a black body. And when she leaned over, I was just like, this is like a tutu, a can girl with her little butt up in the air. I was like, I can't do this. So Lola now for me became Ella. So I'm very comfortable with the name Lola in general. They're just not for my pet. And the L's, any C, L, or U in a name represents the communication and the talking. So they're going to tend to be more talkative and barking and things like that, which can be a good thing. As a single woman, living alone here, basically, I like to know when people are coming up to my house, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. But when I'm working, I have to put the dogs away so I can be like this. But Lola basically has lots of love to offer, 3, 4. She is just, is really going to be talkative and playful and just very loving companion. That O tells me a lot there. F, O, and X are the loving companionship, loyal kind of dogs. She also, loyal would be something when I add up the whole name for your dog, Rob.
Very interesting. And I'm thinking that Rob is saying that we don't see him for the people who are watching the show. Right. But you nailed it. and I hate to bring this up because, you're talking about letters in pets' names with a U. And I kind of have a U in my name. So are you kind of saying that us people that have U's are talkers too?
Yes.
I'm smiling. I am so smiling because my daughter's nickname is Jabberjaws. My husband said, that once I get talking, you can't shut me up. So, we want to add that in too. So people, this affects you too. Right, Trish?
Yes, I would completely agree. It's not just the letter U, it's the letter C, which is the 3rd letter. It's the letter L, which is the 12th letter, and 1 + 2 = 3. And then U is the 21st letter, 2 + 1 = 3. So any of those letters, and the more you have, the more prone you're going to be talkative. And then if there's any 3s in your birthday, then you're really meant to get out there and experience the talking kind of stuff.
So do you just use the first name, or are you going to use the first name and last name when it comes to people?
Well, for people, I need their whole birth certificate name. And there's a whole process that I go through to see if they were adopted. So it doesn't matter whether it's a pet or not. If I have the original name, it doesn't matter whether it says baby girl on the birth certificate, I go with baby girl. So it's whatever is on the birth certificate. And then I ask about name changes and adoption. And when they happen, then there's a whole technical thing on that.
Very, very, very interesting. I was blown out of the water when you nailed me, you nailed Roz, and like my husband's open to this, but he's like, I like this lady. I want to talk to her again. As you know, we've been talking like off the show hours.
A lot.
And folks, I have to tell you, be open to what happens in your life. And when you have a sign or you feel you need to do something, here's a prime example. I got to tell our story, Trish.
Sure.
So what happened? I guess it was maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Trish.
Yeah. About 2 weeks ago.
I was laying in bed one night and I just felt compelled. I'd grab my phone, which I did, grab my phone. And there was a message came up with these numbers, and in the bottom it said destinydetective.com. And I'm not one to really check all like that out or spend time at nighttime. Nighttime is my time kind of thing. But I just felt so drawn to check this out and connect with this woman. And honest to gosh, I feel like we have been friends forever. I mean, our first time talking, I getting used to all technology. I will tell you, I'm one of them, but guys, I thought that on Zoom, when you say your call is going to be an hour or 2, you get some kind of alert saying that your call's up. And I thought, I have to go to the bathroom. We've been on the call for so long. And here what happened, we kept talking, and it was 5 hours, guys, that we were on the call. So there's a prime example about Sue being the talker, right?
Yes.
But look at how like we're doing so much work together
Mhm.
and in so many different ways just because of that call. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was definitely an instant connection there with us. And it was just an intuitive back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so it
That's
was
right.
a lot of fun.
That's right. Now, we're gonna have to go to a break in about a minute and a half here, but you also read the nose, or the noses are unique. Is that something that we can talk about now?
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that now.
Talk about
So,
okay.
yeah, basically with noses, I can't read noses. That is what makes a pet unique, is their nose print. But nobody runs around and takes a whole data selection of nose prints so somebody can sit back and sort them and analyze them. So that's why for the pet readings, I go to numerology, because it's the only system, not the only system, there are other systems, but it's my best system to go to look at the names, and that tells me a lot. And then, of course, if I have a birth date or an adoption date, then I can go use that as well to look for the pet's information. And that's a boatload of information. It's a lot. So.
And I know for me, drawing the pet portraits, the animals, they channel through me to draw all their little noses, and every nose, it is very unique. They are all different. And I can tell you, Marley, his little nose is brown. I've never had a Shih Tzu with a brown nose before. And so it is just incredible, we got to take a break. Folks, we're going to take a short break. You're watching Ask Sue London, the pet psychic. And my guest today is Trish Mathews. And you're watching this on XZTV. We're going to be right back after this short break. Welcome back to the show. You're watching Ask Sue London, the pet psychic, and I am your host, Sue London, and my guest today is Trish Mathews. And our topic is learn your pet's purpose in your life. Now, Trish, before we went to break, you said that you were going to talk about our boys and Ross and I.
Yeah.
So bring it on, girl.
Okay. Well, doing readings for pets is just so exciting. So, but what I really need to do is look at the pet's owners first to see the energy that they have. So we tend to pick breeds that are, high energy, if we're high energy, low energy, or whatever. So, but that energy, that a pet's going to pick up a lot of the energy of its owners. So I always start there to look at them from a soul purpose and general things. And I'm looking for common numbers across all of their charts. And I have like literally 3 pages of numbers for each person critter that I analyze, are just solid numbers. And I'm looking for the theme there. And it was just so fascinating, given that you're a pet psychic, to sit there and see for your husband, Ross, and you, and your 2 pets, Marley and Gus, y'all all had a master number, which is a really rare number of 11-2. And the 11-2 is a far more spiritual number, and it's a higher energy, but it's perfect for you as pets. And so your pets have come into your lives because they too want to learn this spirituality and intuition and living at a higher purpose, even though they're a dog. So, it's very interesting to me.
Well, and can I share something? You had said about Gus stares, and that, he watches me. And Ross and I comment about this all the time. No matter what we're doing, someone's watching you, and we can turn, and Gus will sit for hours and just stare at us. Yeah. And he's just taking it all in. Like, what is mommy doing? And what's daddy saying? What does that mean? And what's that about? And so it's incredible when you learn that about your pets, because you do look at them differently. Like, they are like human, they're not stupid like some people out there.
Oh, no. Yeah. They're very, very bright. So, Gus, basically, that first letter of his name, and the first letter is how we approach our world. And so that's true for everybody, people, animals, everything. And so that's the 7th letter in the alphabet. And that too is a very spiritual number. So it's kind of like the monk up in the ivory tower, just observing the world to see what's going on and intaking all that wisdom and knowledge. And so, and you have an extreme number of 7 in your chart too, Sue. And so there's a lot of connection between the two of y'all with that kind of energy. And it's just more spiritual kind of thing. And it also is going to make Gus a more, even though he's talkative, he's more introverted and is going to have a lower energy than Marley. Marley's going to be, oh, let's go run around and play and do all this kind of stuff. And Gus is just going to be slower and more methodical in all that he does.
And that is true, that Gus, he was a rescue boy. We rescued him at 5 weeks old. He was left abandoned in an apartment. The owner had taken the mother and left these puppies in this empty apartment. So he did have a lot of issues. For the first 2 years, he would lift his leg and pee on everything. And we had to replace beds and furniture, and it got quite expensive. And all of a sudden, one day, my husband said, we've taken quite a lot here, and maybe we're not the right owners for him. And maybe we need to find him a new home. And I said, no, he came to us for a reason, and we are meant to love him and help him heal. And it was literally minutes after that where he shifted his energy, that dog, and he never peed in the house.
How sweet.
And now he just wants to please and of course take it all in, and he can have his moments. He likes to talk, but he is the shyer one. But it's funny, we have a squirrels in the backyard that really taunt him. Yeah. But, and as far as Marley, he's the Sagittarius. And I'm saying that because I am one too. So, with Marley, he picks and chooses. If he wants to do it, he'll do it. But if it's not right, he's not going to do it. But he likes to be the man of the house because he knows his cuteness gets him away with a lot.
Yes. Now, when I look at Marley's whole name, I see a lot of confidence. So is he like just the alpha dog over Gus, or over like literally the whole family is what I was seeing as a potential possibility? It's like, I'm the boss and y'all are going to do what I have to say.
Yeah. Marley is the boss because his cuteness, gets him over that.
Yeah.
That's what wins.
Yeah. So what I see with all of y'all, Russ, with your last name London there, that's an 11-2. And then you were born in November, the Sagittarius, November. And then Gus and Marley, their first names add up to 11-2. So what that means is all of y'all are highly sensitive to energy and things like that. So, so they can get kind of freaked out and want to revert when they get overwhelmed. And so, but on the positive side, literally, Sue, for you can read the energy that's just in the thin air that none of us can see. It's kind of like our cell phone conversations go across the microwaves or whatever. You're picking up on all the different conversations there that us mere mortals can't pick up. I'm going to a different place. I don't hear and see. I'm claircognizant and clairsentient empath, where I feel things. So for the longest time, I didn't think I did anything special. I was just like, I've just read a lot of books and stuff. And but there's that ability that you have that's unique to even some of us psychics, where you just are plucking out information that we can't do that. So.
And I will tell you, it can be quite a challenge. And for me, I have to go. I'm really lucky. I live by the Niagara River in Fort Erie, Ontario, Canada. And I need to be by that water every single day. I need to ground. I need to, just let go of all the energy around me because I feel so much. And I know one of the things that you had talked about with me before we did the show was that Gus came to me, if I'm saying this right, correct me if I'm not, that Gus came to me to help me to stay grounded. Because what was happening when we were starting all of this stuff with the show and everything going on, honest to gosh, people, the lights in my studio here, that they were flashing. You'd think there was a strobe show going on in the 80s, and the computers were crashing, and email was lost. And I'd go to a website and think, why is there nothing on their homepage? And so when I have things like that happen, it is very hard to, keep yourself grounded. And like I'm sitting here hearing all kinds of messages right now for everyone who's listening, and all of these animals around. So yeah, you're right on the nose on all of this for sure. So
yeah, yes, animals, water, just walking barefoot in the grass or whatever, all of that grounds us a lot. So it grounds all people, whether you think you're intuitive or not, and that, but that definitely helps if you feel like you get overwhelmed with energy, is to have a pet, to be able to hold a pet. And the pet, from what I understand, pets are empaths as well, but for empaths like me, we absorb all that energy that they can't other people that are overwhelmed can't process. So that's what Marley and Gus are doing for you in your walks by the water there. And then some psychics there have that mental thing when they start to overthink things that we've talked about versus going to their intuitive side. Because it was so funny on that first conversation that we had where we were up in the intuitive place and it's like tennis ball going back and forth. But then when Sue got down to planning out this call and doing all that kind of stuff, all the lights started to flicker and all that. And it was just like, okay, we got to come back down to the intuitive side for it to flow. So it was just a funny little thing.
So to all you watching this, welcome to my world. But yeah, and the boys, they love going to the water as well. And
yes.
They need to be there too. And you talk about animals absorbing energy. I had a dog. I'm going to be talking about this later about pet therapy, but our dog Willie, he was a little Shih Tzu, and I would take him into the sick kids hospital, and he would do pet therapy, and he would walk in there all full of energy, bouncing like I'm the man, and I'm here to help you all heal. And by the time he was finished seeing each child and helping their family with their stuff, whatever was going on, I had to actually carry him out. He was so drained of energy, and then I had to clear the energy on him. I'm a Reiki master, so I was doing Reiki on him all the way home. And so just know that animals do absorb energy, and anyone watching, just know if you're in a negative spot, your animal's going to absorb that, and you don't want to bring that on your pet, because that could bring like sickness and all kinds of problems to them. So by keeping yourself healthy is helping your pet. So yeah, good stuff, my friend. Good stuff. So do you want to talk about Ross now? Ross and I, like you talked about the boys.
Absolutely. It's so interesting for the two of y'all. To me, you've got so much people energy for that Cards of Destiny system that I briefly mentioned. And a lot of people confuse that with tarot cards. It's not. These are the regular playing cards, and there's 52 weeks, and there's 52 cards in a deck. There's 4 seasons, and there's 4 suits in a deck. So everybody has a card that's associated with their birthday. And so Sue is a 10 hearts. And so the hearts is all about sharing love and being emotionally connected to her loved ones, and all of that side. And so I knew instantaneously that she was going to have great success in large groups of people. So, and this was before she even had decided to do the TV show. And then she's, texting or writing or whichever. And she's like, what do you think? I'm like, absolutely, this is perfect time for you and stuff. And so she's got this ability and this business sense there. So, but as I recall, you're missing an F-O or X in your birth certificate name. You don't have any of those letters, I'm 90% sure. So then Ross London, I don't know if I keep calling him Russ because of Gus. So, but Ross London, there's at least 3 O's in there. And so he has got the mother load of love and giving, and has done previous jobs of relationships kind of sales. And when they took apart the importance of him forming relationships there with his business side, that kind of hurt him. That's very important to him. So he's got that sense completely of how to connect, but he wants to have some more experience in that, because as I recall in his birthday, there is information there where he wants to have some more the responsibility and work behind love. But he's also a Capricorn, so he's here learning about business as well and being recognized for what he brings to the table. So this business thing that y'all got going and he's helping and so supportive of you, it's just fabulous to me.
Well, can I show you? I don't know if this will show on the camera. Can you see that? So you can do that. So this morning, one of the things that Ross was, how we met, was my mentor from Toastmasters. And so when I had to do my first speaking event, he made a note very much like that when I had to go on my first speaking event on stage. And I had that in my shoe and I had it in there and I would feel it. It was like, yeah, I got Ross's energy. I got his support with me. Right. And then I said to him last night, oh, you should be home today and you can kick my butt and all this stuff. And, tell me my hair's good and, everything's going good. Right. And so he's phoned me like 4 times today, you can do it. And then I found this note in the bathroom this morning where I wouldn't miss it. So yeah, he's very, very supportive, very, very supportive. And that's going to be a whole other segment that I'll tell everyone, in the audience that you're going to learn about him over all our shows together. Welcome back to the show. You're watching Ask Sue London, the Pet Psychic, with my guest today, Trish Mathews. And our topic is your pet's purpose in life. You're learning that today. Okay, Trish, let's talk about Ross and I now. You talked briefly about us before the break, and tell us more about Ross. Where's he at?
He is at a big transition point. So the name is who you are. And then your whole birthday is the experiences you're going to have for the whole life. And then the month plus the day plus the current year tells me where someone is in their in a 9-year cycle. So every 9 years we go round and round. And he is at a point where he is, if he was like a woman, he's pregnant and he's getting ready to birth this baby. So he's a little frustrated. He's like, where do I go in my life? I don't know what to do. And so, but next year in 2022 is his big year to be recognized for who he really is and to find himself and to be really strong and saying, yes, this is me. And, he's, had, job. We've all had jobs, but there comes a point when we're an elder. The first 30-ish years of our life are, it sets us up for the rest of our life. And it's the problem we have to solve. And then the next 30 years, you go off and you're experiencing, you're playing, and how can I do this? And you're like, that didn't work, but this worked. But then you become the elder. So he's moving into this point where he gets to really own who he is. And that can be a little tough some points. But, I know that he can. He's got such a big heart and he's going to be able to contribute to everything you do that in amazing ways, I'm sure.
Yes. And that is him. And I know for him, one of the things, like when you say get out and get moving, and he likes to be around people, and he's been finding it kind of hard that he hasn't been able to go out to the restaurants and things like that. And one of the things that we did for my birthday, it was kind of cute, and he still thinks I'm crazy, is that I wanted to go to a tuxedo shop. I wanted him to try a tuxedo on and take his picture. And why that is because when we got married, we got married at home, second marriage for both of us. Our kids walked us down the aisle with our dogs. And we made it casual because we were going to go to Hawaii for 3 weeks. So, it was just more, we felt like we've been together forever. So we didn't have to make this huge thing about it, right? It was more the memories of being together in Hawaii and that. So he never wore a tux, and I always wanted that. So that's what he did. And at first he was like a little boy, why are you making me do this? And this is silly, and that kind of thing. But it really had a lot of meaning to me. And because of that, he was willing to do that for me, even as much as crazy as he thought I was, so that is definitely him. He's a supporter, and he puts up with a lot of my ideas. Let's say that. As I'm sure you know, right?
Yes, that was the cutest little picture there that you sent me of him all dressed up in his little tux and done away. So,
Yep.
and it's interesting to me because, Gus, both your dogs really, and Russ have all come in to help you feel more grounded and solid and stuff. And so when I look at a relationship of anything, I didn't go and add each of, basically to find out the purpose of a relationship, I take the 2 birthdays and I add them together to see what, as a whole, what does that relationship energy look like? And so it's a very grounded, practical, solid thing with the 2 of y'all. It's just, it's the one of the strongest of the 2 numbers there that gives y'all a real sense of groundedness and stability in both of y'all's lives. So that's the purpose. And then a lesson, you can subtract the 2. So you can do that with a person and a pet or pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm. And we do everything together. Like every day at 3 p.m. you won't be able to get me because that is the time when Ross and I take the boys, we go down to the river and we'll walk for half an hour. And now it's getting a little cold, sometimes we'll sit in the car and look at the river, instead of walking as long. But that's what we do every single day, to be together, to ground ourselves, to clear our energy, anything we've, taken on, that kind of thing. And then we look at what was our bonuses, our great things that happened for the day. And we discuss that. So it's great. It's all good. So, okay. So now we've talked about the boys. Was there anything else that you wanted to say about Gus and Marley?
I would they are 2 just brilliant little dogs for you, and as you know, you're seeing, and what is fascinating always to me is when what I see is the same thing that other psychics see. So when I'm like looking at timing or energies and things, and how you're looking at your pets with 2 different eyes, just the regular mommy here, but you're also the psychic because you can hear what they see. But it's just so confirming to me when we're using different psychic skills that we're coming up with the same answers. So when you hear a message anywhere in your life and you start to hear it multiple times, that's when your spirit guides are there talking to you. And that's the main reason that Marley and Gus came into your life, is to witness and see this intuition more in a different, deeper kind of way. And so, pets aren't just barking at squirrels and playing and things like that and waiting for their next treat. And, when you can, get in bed with them, they're here to have a job as well and to learn and experience and grow. And so that is the main thing that they came into their lives, is to witness your intuition and your spirituality.
Well, and what's really interesting is that with Marley, he loves looking at them on the other side. And our house is full. Like, as I said to you earlier, right now at my feet, I've got 7 dogs at my feet. They're on the other side. So, kind of watching where I'm putting my feet and focusing on what we're saying. But with Marley, what happens, he will sit and his head goes like that and he's going like that. And, my husband at first thought, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with our dog. He's having a seizure. And I said, no, he sees the other side.
Yes.
And so I think he likes to look at them, and it's quite common to see Marley laying on his little dog bed, facing the corner of the wall and just staring. And, at first Ross was very concerned, and I said, no, this is who he sees. And so it's helped. Marley doing this has helped Ross grow as well. But it's just incredible watching, the little head going all around like this, So they're just incredible beings. And if you're watching this and you see your dog maybe go to the corner and start barking, he or she is trying to give you a message that you've got somebody with you. And don't be scared by that, because they're only there to support you, to love you, and to be, encourage you to whatever you need to do. And when you get in this quiet place, then the thought that comes to you, it might be grandma saying, you can do this, or it could be your pet say, I got your back, everything's okay. So that thought is them telling you that message that they're trying to get out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So in part of my learning, as I started to become more sensitive and be able to feel ghosts and critters, ghosts jump into my bed and pets jump in, dead pets jump into my bed. Sometimes I can't talk to them. But if you get scared with that, what was very empowering to me was to say, be able to have the power to say, you're not welcome here. Please leave now if you don't feel like you're in an open place to start to explore this. So as you start to feel these things yourself or witness your dogs, just witness where you're at. And if you have the power and control, they're not going to come in and take over and do crazy stuff. But you can tell anything to go away. But just to be open and experience, because I have learned so much just being in this house, because there's all sorts of spirits and stuff going on.
Yes, there is. Yeah. We have got like a minute and a half, and I want to play a game with you.
Okay.
Yeah, for this. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you a question and you're going to give me a quick answer. Okay. This is so our audience learns more about you.
Okay.
Number one, what's your favorite type of pet? Dog?
Dogs.
Okay.
Anything furry.
What is your favorite name for a pet?
Teddy was my very first dog.
Okay. Where does your pet sleep? On your bed, in a cage, in a crate?
I love sleeping with my pets because then I wake up with an unconditional love every morning.
Is your pet introverted or extroverted?
One each.
Does your pet travel well?
No.
Okay, we'll move on from that one real fast, folks. Okay, does your pet do tricks? And if so, what do they do?
Ella will talk to me, kind of like what Rob, the producer, was saying with his dog Lola. She does, it's not a bark. It's just like she's talking. It's the funniest thing.
Okay. So do you feed your pet food? The food, is it wet or is it dry?
Both.
Okay. What does your pet do to get extra treats from you?
That barking thing is what she's doing to get my attention.
Okay. And the most funniest moments?
The funniest moments is when they're barking, and then Ella, after I live in Texas where we had the winter storm and I lost all my pool equipment, but when it came back up, the Polaris that crawls around in the bottom, she thought it was like an animal, and she would chase that Polaris all day long, and she lost I don't know how much weight.
Wow. And quickly, the most embarrassing moment?
Embarrassing moment was when they got out and I had to go grab the dog, and they're 25 pounds. So the one, and just carrying her back because she's just too big to carry. But that was embarrassing to have the gate open big time.
Thanks very much for that, my friend. Folks, you have just met the real Trish Mathews.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for being on the show today. I love you, my friend. You're doing awesome work. Keep it all up. Tell everybody your website address quickly.
Yes, they can go to destinydetective.com/pet. And then there'll be a little special on there for anybody that wants to get a pet reading with a human reading. I'm going to do a combination thing there.
Perfect. We're going to take a short break. You're watching Ask Sue London, the Pet Psychic on XZTV. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. You're watching Ask Sue London, the Pet Psychic, and I'm Sue London. Now, in this part of the show, I'd like to talk to you about gratitude. I want to tell you a story that why gratitude is so important to me, and maybe that will help for you to look at your life differently. This week was my birthday, and for me to have a birthday is an incredible gift for me. I turned 59, and I know some of you watching this are saying, how could she say she's turning 59 and to be on TV and tell the world this? Well, I am so excited to wake up every morning breathing. I have to tell you that. Why? 30 years ago, I had a near-death experience. I died. I had Crohn's disease at the time, and my intestine had burst. I was in the hospital's waiting room waiting to see somebody, and my intestine burst while I was sitting there. They took me in. My system filled with all the poisons, and they said, you have 30 minutes to live. Who do you want to say goodbye to? So no longer I didn't have any more time to think about it. And then what happened was I could feel my body change. I could feel my soul coming over my body, and I could feel it going up and floating. And I could see all these people around me, and they were focused on what was happening around me. They were panicking, and I couldn't understand why they were acting like that. It was like I was watching a movie as a producer and all these actors around me. So what ended up happening was I kept going higher and higher. And the higher that I went up, what happened, my body became lighter and healthy, pain-free, but I felt this joy, this love, and this intense feeling of support that I had never had before. And as I was going through the white light, I came to this spot and I saw these dark images in front of me. And the one image came closer and I recognized him. And the one that came up behind him, I just instantly knew, could it be? The first image that came forward was my grandpa Buck. And my grandfather was somebody that in my childhood, he was my best friend. He was my support system. He was somebody that could kick my butt and get through to me, and I would listen to him. And the other person that was with him was Jesus. And when I came to join them, I was saying I was glad to be there and asking all kinds of questions. And I wanted to stay because I had just left a life of being in and out of hospitals with Crohn's disease and near-death experiences. This was my second time I had one, by the way. And I had a husband at home. I didn't know what was going on, but it just wasn't right. And then I learned after that he had had a girlfriend and he had moved her in while I was in the hospital. So it wasn't a very good experience as well. I had gone through abuse with him as well. And it wasn't something I wanted to go back to when I was feeling this love and support and joy. It just, I cannot explain the extensity of it. So anyways, while I was there, Grandpa Buck and Jesus both said to me, Susie, you have millions of people and animals that you need to go back and you need to help heal. You need to help them cope. You need to help them heal, and you need to help them move forward. And these are for people and these are for animals. And when I heard that, I thought, what can little old me do to help somebody? But because I trusted my grandfather and Jesus, how could you not trust that man? I took their advice and I came back into my body, and I was in the hospital bed again. And while I was in the hospital bed, I started on this real spiritual journey just while I was still recovering in the hospital. And I started to learn how to meditate. And I had a nurse come into my room that she had noticed me focusing on all my pain, where it was, when it was happening, how bad it was even. And she said to me, I want to help you to get away from your pain. I want to help you to go to a nice place. I'm going to teach you how to visualize so that you see the sights, you feel the experience, and you can even taste the food. So I did that, and it worked great. And then the next day, I asked to see the nurse to tell her how great it helped me. I didn't feel the pain in my body. In fact, I even forgot to set my clock and say, oh, I need more medicine because I'm about to have pain again. That's how bad it was for me. And so the funny thing is, the staff looked at me quite puzzled, and they said to me, what nurse? I don't know who you're talking about. There's no nurse on our staff that knew anything about how to teach somebody visualization. So was that an angel sent to me? I think so. So not only that happened, okay, I came home and then I looked at life that it was so short. I looked at it that we have such short time in our life, and we shouldn't sit back and just settle. We should be happy. We should be able to be healthy and pain-free, and we should be able to live our adventures and have support around us and love and joy, just like I felt on the other side. So I made the decision. I showed my soon-to-be ex-husband the door. And I went on to heal Crohn's disease. And I saw my doctor, and he said, maybe a slim 1% chance of you ever getting sick again. The disease has totally left my body from the work I did over 5 years. Amazing, right? So then what happened? I thought, okay, I've done a lot of spiritual work on myself. So now what I want to do is I'm going to get over my fear of speaking in public, being the center of attention. And everybody was kicking my butt around me to go to Toastmasters. It's a international speaking club. So I went. And there, I did not know ahead of time, but I was about to meet my future husband, who would start off as my mentor, Ross London. So while I was there, he helped me prepare speeches, and I would deliver a speech. And as I was talking, I was making people cry. And at first, it kind of freaked me out, to be quite honest, because I thought, this is terrible. I'm doing a bad job. I'm making people cry. And he assured me, no, this is a really touching quality to have. So what ended up happening, one of my speeches became one of my first book, which was Rocky's Trip to the Hospital. Then another speech became my second book, which was my life story book, Soar Above It All, Overcoming Adversities in Life. And then later down the road, I would write Rocky's Positive Thoughts coloring book. So fast forward now, here's why the memory that I hold every birthday that happened 19 years ago. Okay. So we're fast forwarding now 19 years, or no, maybe 6 years. And I'm in McMaster Children's Hospital in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. I'm doing pet therapy with children. I'm going room to room, and I'm teaching children how to visualize. I'm teaching them to get away from their pain and come out to the lounge area and see our dog that was doing pet therapy, meet my husband, and just really feel the love and support that we were there for them. I then had to go room by room, and I would visit children that were not coming home. I would explain to these children and to their parents what they were going to expect. So what ended up happening was, on this one particular day, I had just finished visiting a little girl who was 1.5. This little girl was not going to be coming home. It was tough, and I knew I had to be strong when I went in, and I knew I had to give everything I had inside of me to bring love and support and just make this little girl's day and to create a memory for her mom. I left that room just so overwhelmed, filled with gratitude that I had gone through all this stuff in my life and to be in this position to help people. And now I was able to do it. So I left that area. I went out to the lounge, and there was a boy, Josh was his name. And I didn't recognize him at first because he had hair now, but he shared that his cancer had just gone into remission because of the visualizations, because of the Positive Thoughts coloring book, and because of the trips that he really hoped one day he could take. And then his father shared that they were going to be taking that trip to Mexico the next day that we did on the visualizations. So if you're going through things in your life, I want to assure you that everything in your life is happening for a reason. And if you start now, if you've never done this before, be grateful for everything that is in front of you. You are going to have such an adventurous, fulfilled life, I promise you. Now, one of the things that I do now is I channel pet portraits. Your pets will, together, we will draw their portraits. And I think Rob, my producer, is going to put up a picture of Molly and Willie for you to see the drawings. This is something that happens to me since I've come back from the other side, that, the pet will tell me where to draw and things like that. So it's just incredible. So check that out. And if you would like to book a pet portrait, you can get more details on my website, asksuelondon.ca, under the spiritual pet portraits. We're almost out of time. This has been a great show. I want to thank my guest today, Trish Mathews, and I really want to thank you for taking the time to join us. It's been quite a blessing for me to have you on the show. So that's it. We've had a great show on behalf of the staff here, myself, Trish Mathews. You've been watching EZ TV, and I'll see you again next week.